Welcome to my tips for NRL Round 23. Just looking at how we did last week with the bets which we put in. We got both the Broncos and the Panthers, which gave us plus 390 there. But we did lose on the Raiders against the Dragons, which was a very wet and windy game at Wynn Stadium. The weather was terrible, but the Raiders really just didn't put in their usual defense and attack and let the Dragons get away with it there at home. So we lost on that game, which brings our total record to 31 tips for the season. We've had 25 winners and we're currently sitting there at a profit just over $7,000. So let's see how we actually went in round 22 for all the games. So we had tipped the Storm to win, the Dolphins, Broncos, and the Panthers. So we got those first four games, all favourites, so not surprising there. We had tipped the Raiders, which I said we'd lost to the Dragons. We did get the Roosters there in an upset, which was the only upset that we had gone with that week at $2.16. They beat the Sea Eagles. We lost with the Bulldogs West Tigers. Now we had that as a 10-point advantage to the Bulldogs, but West Tigers pretty much went and won that game quite easily. And the Sharks versus Cowboys, the Sharks did it quite easily in that game as well. Again, they were favourites. So we did end up with 6 out of the 8 games. Had you bet all of the games just on the odds which are there, you would have ended up in profit, which is good to see. It does help when you tip one of the outsiders. So let's have a look at round 23. First game is Storm versus Brisbane. I've tipped Brisbane here in an upset. I've got them 16 points on the margin, which is interesting. Their odds are out at $2.86, so the market doesn't like them. The Storm do play well. The Storm are at home. Brisbane has been a bit hit and miss this year at times, but their recent form versus that of the Storm is much better. This is what the ratings have come up with, so we'll go with Brisbane there in the upset at $2.86. The Knights versus Panthers, we have the Panthers there with a 14-point margin. They are heavy favourites there at $1.26, so no surprises there. Raiders versus Sea Eagles, looking for the Raiders to really bounce back here, even though they had a poor game last week. The Sea Eagles aren't playing well, so we have them by 26 points. They are $1.48. I think being back at home, they should be good enough to get over the Sea Eagles. Sea Eagles aren't playing well away from home. We will see how this turns out, but that will be a bet at those odds of $1.48. Dragons versus Sharks. I've got the Sharks here. The Dragons were lucky. It was a pretty tough game last week. They did outplay the Raiders, but I don't think they can put together two performances like that. The Sharks should win here against the Dragons in the local derby. It's a 20-point margin that's been predicted for the Sharks. They are favourites at $1.55, so expect most people to be on the Sharks here. That will be a bet as well. Dolphins versus Roosters. I've got the Dolphins here at home. Roosters have been playing okay here and there and putting in a surprise win. Definitely playing a bit better lately, but the Dolphins at home should be too strong here. The Dolphins are the outsiders though, so at $2.03 is the odds I could find. They will be a bet at those odds. The Bulldogs versus Warriors. The Bulldogs here at home haven't been playing well. Warriors also have been struggling a little bit. So I've got the Bulldogs by 4 points. They are heavy favourites here at $1.40. I think they're the second lowest this round. I'm going to take the Bulldogs only just over the Warriors. Titans versus Rabbits. The Titans here at home. I've got them by 8. The Rabbits struggling to put points on and beat teams. So Titans at home, $1.50. I think most people would be on that. And the Eels versus Cowboys, I thought this was an interesting one that the ratings put up. It's tipped the Cowboys by 12 points. They are the outsiders at $2.50. Cowboys are not playing well this season. Eels have finally come in and are playing well, and they can put together a few games. So this isn't exactly a winner, a predicted winner that I would agree with just watching the two teams. But going purely based on the model and what the ratings are, it has the Cowboys by 12 points. We'll see how that goes, but definitely understand if you avoid that game and go the Eels. Okay, so what are the bets for the next week? We have the Raiders at $1.48, we have the Sharks at $1.55, and we have the Dolphins at $2.03. Now, hopefully, if we can hit 2 out of the 3, we should at least be up. If we hit all 3, we will advance quite nicely with the profit here. Could be an interesting week. The Dolphins being the underdogs, always interesting when it tips an underdog to win by so many points. So what does the market know that we don't? Although it is still a fairly close game, $2 is not a big outsider. And we have one on the outside as it has tipped before this season. So let's see how the model goes. These are the 3 bets. Try to get them on early, especially for the Raiders and Sharks. Those odds won't hang around for too long. I expect that they will shorten as the week goes on, unless there's some injury news or one of the camps gets sick, something like that. I do expect those odds to come in a little bit. The Dolphins might firm into favourites, or they could go out. I have no idea on what the odds is going to do in that game. The outsiders generally drift a little bit, so you might get better odds later on, but I'm happy with the odds at $2.03. Okay, I'm going to leave it there. If you haven't seen my other videos on cricket and AFL, check those out. They are both profitable. We got a nice win in the cricket with the India versus England game last night, and AFL is doing very well on the 18 plus picks. Okay, I'm going to leave it there. Thanks for watching, and good luck if you're having a bet.